Hello and welcome back. Let us resume our discussion with the adaptive size function. Under the global mesh controls, we have the adaptive size function with the help of which we can control how the mesh will be created to represent our geometry. If we set our physics preference to either mechanical, electromagnetics or explicit, then automatically the adaptive size function will be activated. But let's say if we set the physics preference other than the mechanical, electromagnetics or explicit, let us set it to CFD. Then as you can see under the sizing, by default adaptive size function will get deactivated. As of now, let us focus on the adaptive size function. Adaptive sizing can be thought of as a 2D curvature and the proximity based refinement approach. Here, just to give you the little bit idea about the proximity and curvature, if you observe at this location, then these edges are not the straight one as they have the curvature. And the proximity is nothing but region between the two faces, or we can also assume the region between the two edges. In simple word, the proximity is nothing but the gap, and in order to define this gap, we have the various method which we will see in the later sections. With adaptive size activated, the mesher first refines the edges based on its curvature and the proximity, but keep in mind once it refines the edges or once it put the fine mesh along the edges, it will not propagate that refined or the fine mesh along the face. An advantage of adapting to this approach is that we will get the better quality mesh with the less element count. Once we set the adaptive sizing to yes, along with that to control the mesh we will get the various options such as resolution, mesh defeature, transition and many more. First let us discuss which are the controls available to us in order to control the mesh with and without the adaptive size function. Here I have made a simple slide. So before going for interview, kindly take a look onto this slide. Whenever we say adaptive sizing to yes, along with the measure, we will have some additional controls such as resolution, mesh defeaturing, transition, span angle center, initial size seed, and the control to place the element along the washers. Last three parameters will be calculated by default by the ANSYS itself. So without further delay, let us see how we can control the mesh using these options. Here the first control we have is known as an resolution. If you are the user from previous versions of the workbench, then you must have known the option called as an relevance. That relevance has been replaced by the resolution. Resolution will control how fine mesh will be created. So under the statistics, for the resolution of 2, you can see total number of elements are around 4000 and total number of nodes are around 7000. Now let us increase this resolution to let's say 5 and again go for generate mesh. As you can see over here, once I increase the resolution, the fine mesh has been placed on my geometry. Under the statistics, now if I observe, around 8000 elements are getting created and around 14,000 nodes have been created. Again, let us increase the resolution to the highest value, let's say 7, and again go for generate mesh. 7 is the highest resolution that we can set. Now again see the element. So you can see around 25,000 elements have been created. But as you can observe, the mesh look very good. Again, if you want to set the resolution to the default value, then we have to press -1. Once I put -1, automatically the resolution value will be set it to default. Again go for mesh and say generate mesh. Just to recap, the resolution will control how fine mesh will be placed on our geometry. You can set the value of resolution between the 0 to 7, 0 being very coarse mesh and 7 being very fine mesh. Not only that, in order to set the resolution to the default value, we just have to put the -1. After the resolution, next option we have is known as an mesh defeaturing. Generally, while doing the analysis, the CAD will be created in some other CAD software and it will be imported over here. And not only that, while creating the CAD, there might be some very small fillet which are not important in terms of analysis. Let's say I want to remove those fillets. In that case, I can use the defeaturing option. Currently, the defeaturing has been set it to yes, but in order to see the effect, let us increase the defeaturing size. Here, instead of the default size, let us set it to 2 mm. Again, let us go for generate mesh. Here, with the defeature size, we want to remove this 2 layer of element on the fillet. So again go for generate mesh. And as you can see over here, with the defeature size of 2 mm, it has completely disturbed my geometry. But this is not what I wanted. So again, instead of 2 mm, which is very high value, I can simply set 0.2 mm and again go for generate mesh. As compared to previous one, it looks much better, but still here the two layer of elements are getting placed, which I didn't want. So again, let us set the feature size to 1 mm and go for generate mesh. Now as you can see over here, the curvature has been removed and only one layer of element is getting created. Not only that, our original CAD is remaining intact. So basically with the help of D feature, you can remove the very small fillets. Here, just for the demonstration purpose, I have selected the value of 1 mm. Generally, this value is very small. In order to set this value to the default, I can simply press 0 and then go for generate mesh. Here, you can keep one thing in mind. Whenever you change some values, but again after changing the value, let's say you did not get the intended results and again you want to switch that particular value back to the default. In that case, you can simply press 0 and that value will be set it to default. Under the adaptive sizing, the next control we have is known as a transition. Transition will basically control how the adjacent element will grow. Just to give the example, as you can see over here, I have the curvature and because of that curvature, a very small elements have been placed. But if you observe this region, it has very high surface area. So here, the large element can be easily placed. So transition will basically control how each element grow in size between the larger element and the smaller element. Though in many cases it is very difficult to see the transition effect, but you can feel that effect through the statistics. As you can see, the currently transition effect has been set it to fast, which will increase the adjacent element in very drastic manner. If you see the statistics, then you can see whenever I set the transition to fast, a total 4000 element is getting created. Now here, let us say transition to be slow, which will produces the very fine transition. So again, go for generate mesh. As I told you, visually it is very difficult to see the transition. But if I go for statistics, approximately twice the elements are getting generated. Again, let us set it to fast only. Next option under the adaptive sizing is the span angle center. The span angle center sets the goal for the curvature based refinement. For a curved region, the mesh will subdivide along the curvature until the individual element span this angle. To visually feel how the span angle center will affect our mesh placement, let us again open the PowerPoint. Now let us see there is some geometry and within that geometry I have some curvature which look like this. Let us virtually extend this curvature so that it will make a complete circle having the center at this point. Now once I set the span angle center to let's say coarse, then automatically the element will be placed like this. And if I create the angle, you can see this is the angle representing our span angle. So once I set the span angle center to coarse one, automatically individual element will span the angle between this range. But let's say what will happen if I set the span angle center to the medium. Here also the logic is going to be same. But at the time of element placement, since the angle for this individual element to span is very small, you can see the more number of elements are getting fitted into that curvature region. Now let us set the span angle center to the fine and observe how the element placement will be present. You can see once the span angle center has been set to fine, more number of elements are getting placed on the curvature. So basically the point I am trying to make it over here is that with the span angle center we can control the number of elements which are going to be placed on the curvature. Let us observe in this example how the span angle will affect the element count as well as the mesh flow. If the span angle has been set it to coarse, you can see the total 4000 elements are getting created. Now let us set it to medium and observe how the elements are going to be placed within this region. Again go for generate mesh. If you observe at this location, here more number of elements will get placed. You can see here more number of elements are getting placed. Not only that, if I observe the element count has increased to the 5300. Again let us set it to fine and again check the mesh flow. As you can see over here, for this curvature, a very fine mesh has been placed. And the last and very important option in order to control the mesh in the adaptive sizing is the initial size seed. As discussed previously, whenever ANSYS calculate the element size by using the default method, it will create a bounding block around our part, and using the diagonal of that bounding block, it will calculate the element size. If you observe over here, I can see for this particular part, the bounding box diagonal is around 170 mm. But let us say here instead of one part, I have the multiple part. Just to show you, let us import such parts. So here again transition I am going to set it to slow, and for the span angle center set it to coarse and say generate mesh. Again, in order to import the geometry, we will have to go back to the design modeler. In the design modeler, you can see I have this connecting rod, and for this connecting rod the unit has been set it to mm. But let us import some part and see how the initial size seed will affect our mesh. Here I am going to import this fill file which has been created in the Siemens NX software. So automatically I can just click over here, go for open. Instead of add frozen, let us set it to add material and say generate. Again import the another file, do the same procedure. Using the translate command, let me just move this wheel. As you can observe over here, with the add material, I am not able to see this third part. So instead of add material, again set it to add frozen and go for generate. Again let us translate this one. So go for create, select this body and go for apply. Go for direction selection, and here I want to select the Z axis as my transfer direction. But as you can see, I am not able to directly select it. Now to directly select it, we can simply click on XY plane and say generate. Again, let us go back to the mechanical window. In the mechanical window, since I have updated my parts, again I will have to come to the geometry and go for update geometry from the source. Once I update my geometry, you can see some warnings are coming. Again, click on this message file and try to read this warning. So under the warning, it is basically saying the model uses the different length unit than the original one, and please verify the length and the sizing values of the object. But in the design modeler, we have set the unit system to the mm itself. So in the sizing itself, we don't have any problem. So let me set it to OK over here and go for geometry, as there is a question mark within the geometry. Expand it and click on any body where you see the question mark. If I click over here in the details view, you can see under the material assignment, it is showing me the yellow color. That means for this particular body, the material has not been assigned. Again click on this drop down and simply click on steel. For this two material also, do the same procedure. Once the material has been applied, you can go for mesh and go for generate mesh. As you can see over here, the mesh has been created. But if I click on the mesh, under the details view, if you observe, the bounding box diagonal has been changed. Here basically it indicates for this entire assembly, the element size has been calculated based on this bounding box diagonal. But let us say instead of calculating the element size by using the entire assembly, I want to calculate the element size for each and individual component based on the bounding box for each part. As you can see over here, the mesh has been generated. But under the details view, if I observe, the bounding box diagonal has changed to the 300 mm. So basically, in order to calculate the by default element size, ANSYS has created a one bounding block such that it covers all the part within this assembly, and because of which we can see here I have very coarse mesh, and not only that, here also I am getting very coarse mesh. But this is not what I want. Here, since one part is very large and other parts are very small, I want to calculate the element size based on the bounding block for each and individual component. The point I am trying to make it over here is that in order to calculate the element size for this component, ANSYS is supposed to create a bounding block for this one, and based on that bounding block, he is supposed to calculate the default element size for this part. Again, do the same procedure for this part and this part. Now in order to set this functionality, here we are going to use the initial size seed. So instead of assembly, let me set it to part and observe the mesh change for this nut and this wheel. Again go for generate mesh. And now if you observe, once I set the initial size seed to the part, you can see for the nut I am getting very fine mesh, and for the wheel also I am getting very fine mesh. So I hope all the options related to the adaptive sizing are clear to you. In order to better understand this option, we have to play with these options again and again and see the element count as well as the flow of mesh. In the successive sessions also, we are going to play with these options.